What's going on, people? Hold on. Okay. All right. What I'm reading about today is I got some book. I'm you know what I said I'm not gonna order or get it. I mean, excuse me, I'm not gonna get any more books until I'm actually done with the ones I have. I got some I'm looking in the mail for, but I'm not going to get any more until I get these down pat. But there's some today I'm reading about days be granted or lost? That's what I'm gonna be talking about. Can days be granted or lost? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get straight to the point. Because the earth is round, days are determined by the rotation of the plant of the planet on its axis. This rotation is measured in relating to the sun. It is the same with the Sabbath, sundown at any given place on earth. Determine the beginning of the Sabbath or any other day, whether one is in New York, Miami, or Paris, is irrelevant. A day is from evening sunset unto evening sunset. A day is from evening sunset unto evening sunset. Leviticus 23 and 32. The beginning of any day is determined based on where someone is. That makes sense. I had to keep reading that to get that. The sun goes down. The international date line was established so that man could know where their where their travels would require them to add or subtract a day, depending upon whether they were traveling east or west, except for a couple of isolated South Peacecraft Islands. This location was widely placed in the middle of the Paris, the the Peace the Craft Ocean, because it does not permit people in different parts of the world to keep any day, including the Sabbath, on two different days. So it's telling you that every day is a day is determined depending on where you're at. Because like over here, it's been to be dark. It's time for us to go to bed. Probably let's see, like here it might be like 9 o'clock. No, it's 12. Here 12. Over yonder, it's line to be close to morning 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's line to be 10 o'clock in the morning over there. You see what I'm saying? Over in some places. So a day it can start in Japan. The Sabbath day can start over yonder at another given different time. You see what I'm saying? But it's all it takes. The earth is round, as they say, and it takes that earth, the sun, and all of that. Because see, I think the earth is actually ruled by the sun. And you know what I'm saying? Because it takes the sun like 24 hours to go around the sun. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. So y'all scholars and got it down. It says the Peacecraft Ocean because it was 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 I was I a deadly place in the middle of the Peacecraft Ocean because it does not permit people in different parts of the world to keep any day, including the Sabbath, on two different days. People in Japan start the Sabbath. That's what I was just saying before those in India who start it before. And I don't remember saying that part though. It starts theirs before the Indians. Like it may like the Sabbath here started at eight, probably eight something, where it probably haven't started over there in Japan. But that doesn't mean that it's not still the same cycle. Jerusalem, who started it before those in London, it says in Japan started the Sabbath before those in India, who started it before people in Jerusalem, who started it before those in London, who started it before people in Chicago, who started it before those in uh, He- Hammer, Hammer, Hannah, Low, Lolo, or something. I don't know. Hold on. Wait a minute. I used to know what it was, but let me do this right quick. Hold on. H-O-N. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Honolulu. What is Honolulu?
Here's some information about Honolulu.
Hon-
Honolulu, on the island of
Honolulu. Honolulu. Before those in Honolulu. However, all kept it on the same day. Do not be confused by people who say that traveling around the world can cause one to gain or to lose days. Clever statements are often made about gaining hours while traveling west or losing them while traveling east. That's right. This is not reality, but rather a pre perception, a perception of reality. It's a perception of reality. Here's how to prove it. If one starts in London and travels non-stop westward, I remember reading this a long time ago too, around the world, returning to London, will he arrive one full day before everyone who never left London? Has he traveled backward in time and gained 24 hours? Conversely, if one did the same thing traveling non-stop eastward, would he arrive in London a day before anyone that had remained there? Has he traveled forward in time and actually lost 24 hours? You see what I'm saying? It says, the idea is silly, yet this is how some people reason. If this were true, to to some to separate people, one traveling nonstop eastward, eastward, and the other traveling nonstop westward, would both arrive in London at the same time, yet be yet be 2 days apart in time. If one person did this over and over, would become younger, while the other would be again and gaining a faster rate. How ridiculous to consider this! Yet this argument fools some people. There is a slightly different but related point to be considered. It seems that there are never ending ways that people devise to believe time can be lost. What would have to happen exactly for time to truly be lost in such a way that the whole world would lose it? Another way of asking this question is, what would it take today for over 6.5 billion people on earth to lose track of time. Now, this is going into the 7 day Sabbath, and it's going to make a point with this here. We have all know people who forget where they are, fall asleep, or lose track of time when they are supposed to be somewhere or do something on a schedule. Perhaps this has happened to you several times. So it is admitted. So it is admitted that individuals can certainly lose track of time. However, someone would have to be knocked unconscious or fall into a coma to lose track of time, so that when they awake, they are unable to know how much time has passed, days, weeks, months, or even years, but they would merely ask out, how long they have been out, and the answer would reorient, reorient them. Let's carry this further. What would be necessary for all people on earth to lose track of time? The following would have to happen. I am being fascinated. I am being I am being fascinated. Similarities. Everyone on earth for an extent period of time would have to be knocked unconscious, fall asleep, or fall into a coma. Presumably, if everyone then regained conscious, there would be no one left to ask how much time had passed, while everyone else was out cold. If even one person remained conscious, he could tell everyone what had happened. Everyone would be reoriented to the proper time. Now, what this is going into is that people always say we don't know which day the Sabbath day is. The days are mixed up. This and that and the third. We don't know what's true, what's happened. But the Bible, this is a good point it's making, is that I don't care how many people follow lies. God always has somebody that will stand up and help us to be able to keep track of time. Let's keep going. Can you see the absurdity of such shallow deception arguments about gaining or losing time? Okay. The true church proves time has not been lost. The true church of God has always kept God's Sabbath, Saturday, just as Jesus knew the correct day. So also do true church, true Christians. Most theologians and religious have admitted that the true Sabbath of the Bible is the seventh day. However, they will not obey it. Saturday, not Sunday, is the seventh day of the week. Even a good dictionary explains this. You see that? If you if you have already seen several scriptural relief, several scriptural references to the Sabbath. God hallowed it at creation, long before there were any Jew or Israelite to keep it. Now, check this out now. Check this out. Now, that's where the lie is right here. That's why it's good that we have this study over the course of time, because just because people write and they agree with the Sabbath, but this part here, they trying to say basically that the Sabbath was for everybody, universal, because they will say that, oh, when God created the heaven and earth, there wasn't no Israelite, there wasn't no this and that and the third, or whatever, so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? But that's a deception within itself. You have to catch it. Hey, brother, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. Listen to this here. It says, the true church proves time has not been lost. And I'm going to get into that. The true church of God has always kept God's Sabbath, Saturday, just as Jews know. Now, look, now watch the error. Catch the error. I want you to catch the error in this at the end. Just as Jews know the correct day, so also do true Christians. Most theologians and religious have long admitted that the true Sabbath of the Bible is the seventh day. However, they will not obey it. Saturday, not Sunday, is the seventh day of the week. Even a good dictionary explains this. You have already seen several scriptural references to the Sabbath. God hallowed it. Hallowed means make holy. God hallowed it at creation. Now watch this here. This is the lie right here. Long before there was any Jew or Israelites to keep it. So what this man did, he wrote this book, but he put that at the end and trying to disown the so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. This is a man that wrote this book telling you God loves everybody, but God don't love everybody. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they put in the book, bro. Talking about the Sabbath was in. Look, long before it says God hallowed it at creation, long before there was any Jew or Israelites to keep it. Unless and he I, look, unless and he trying to say God later on the Sabbath was here. But the way he put it, it's like he's disregarding the Israelites. Like he spoke, you know how some people speak the truth and then they turn around and throw a little kind of piece of lie, kind of like say it, but then kind of throw it under the rug to keep you from catching what they're actually saying. You know, you can catch that the error in these books. But I still read the books to catch the truth out of it. But the lies I can recognize. All right, next page. God told ancient Israel, moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. Exodus 20, verse 12. One of the signs, the, the, the single greatest keys that identifies the true church, the one founded by Jesus Christ, is the sign of God's true Sabbath. You know? Let's keep going. The quote, more than Israel has kept the Sabbath. It is the Sabbath that has kept Israel. I bid could as easily have been said of the true church, which has been under siege throughout the ages. We agree with that. It has. Pretty partly, Party, partly for keeping the Sabbath. The church at Rome in AD 363 decreed the death sentence on all who continue to observe the Sabbath. Christ kept the Sabbath. A. A Christian is one who copies Jesus Christ, except in his own life. His example was Sabbath observance. Therefore, for now, I don't. I got to do some extra research on it. For 2,000 years, the New Testament church has always kept God's Sabbath. The record of history is that God's church has remained faithful to the Sabbath commandment, despite intense persecution. it has remained a sign between God and his people. All right. Some of these words gonna be hard, but when I get on page 52, the word's gonna be it's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna do the best I can. The true Dr. Hickley was a well-known astronomer of a half of a century ago. Half of a century. That's like 50 years. Like, okay, what about change? What about changes to the Roman calendar? What about the important questions of changes to the Roman calendar? There were two important changes. Actually, one change that occurred in two stages, two different Roman calendars. These church changes are acknowledged. But what were the nature of these changes? Did they affect the weekly cycle? Did they not? Neither of the two changes affect the days of the week. This is this has not kept people from saying that these changes broke the weekly cycle. This reason contains with the claim that this has caused time to be lost. Okay, and thus the certainty of when to observe the Sabbath is gone. Some understanding of history is required. Most are unfamiliar with the fact that today's calendar is called the Gregorian calendar. Okay, that's the part I want to get to. The Gregorian calendar, because this is what I want to get into, and this is the history of it. Which chapter? You mean in the book? I'm on page, so far I'm reading on page 48. It's called The Greatest Question, Plain Answers, Saturday or Sunday, which is the Sabbath. Yeah, I'm on page um 48, and I'm down here. It says, what about changes to the Roman calendar? All right, let me go. It says most are familiar with the famous Roman Empire, Julius Caesar. It says Gregorian calendar, or that the Julian calendar preceded it. Most are familiar with the famous Roman Empire, Julius Caesar. He devised the first Roman calendar called the Julian calendar. Our month of July still carries the stamp of his name. Okay, the name July is Jew. Now let's break that down. Jew. Now, Juw is Jew. Juws is Jews. All right. Now, when you say Jew, lie, like they want to put a biblical part in it and try to mix truth with error. Jew, like you think about Adam and say God told him don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, talking about the other nations, which will be the Canaanite, the Phoenician people. And then you look at July, Lie, lie. You got both of them on together. So when you celebrate Jew, the thing that they changed, the Bible says in Daniel 7:25, they would think to change times and laws. Lie. So they calling themselves the real Jews. But we can debunk that in Revelation chapter 2 and 9. Revelation 2 and 9. He said, I know the blasphemy of them to say that they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So when they say July, July, it was the lie day that they created, and it was the birth of so-called birth of America. It was called July the 4th, 1776, which was called Independence Day. Independence. That's how they celebrating the birth of America, which going into how they got this land and how they benefiting off of slavery, stuff like that. Now let's go down here and give you some more truth. Um, they did not neither. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm reading. Okay, my bad. It said most are familiar with the famous Roman Empire. Julius Caesar, he devised the first Roman calendar called the Julian calendar. Our month of July is still carries the stamp of his name. His calendar dated from 46 BC. That's what I mean 45 BC. The Julian calendar was created between 45 and 46 BC. 46 BC is when they created the Julian or the Jewish calendar. You see what I'm saying? It says, and contain AD 1582 is when they instituted the calendar. October AD 8 1582 is when they took, if you look right here. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my bad. I wasn't showing. If you look right there, you see where they got Monday marked right there. Monday, but it's supposed to be Sunday. But they got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now they got the 16th right here for Saturday. And they got the 5th Friday, the 5th day, which they got that wrong in the Julian calendar, which was created by Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was a Roman, and Caesar stands for a ruler, you know? It says, let's go on. A Greek astronomer named Soleucus calculated the calendar in 46 BC, which Caesar adopted. That's what I was saying. Caesar adopted. That's what I was just saying. The first change to the calendar occurred in 1582 and was decreed by Pope Gregory the let's see X I think, hold on, let's look at that. I know it's a number. Whoops, turn it off. Let's see here. What is X I I? Hold on. Pope Gregory the XIII.
According to Wikipedia, Pope Gregory XII, or Angelo Corrario, was head of the Catholic Church from the 30th of November 1406.
Yeah. So it's Pope Gregory the 13th, 1572. That's right, 1572 to 1585. From this point, good readings so far. Okay, yeah, it is. It really is. From this point, the calendar has been known as the Gregorian calendar. This was a Roman Catholic person. 170 years later, in 1752, another change was made. Whoa, what, really? Both involving and drops dropping days from the calendar to correct for previous errors and construction and contemplating contem, completing or contemplating what has caused the problem. Over the centuries, astronomers has come to greater precisions, precisions in understanding how to complete the device a more exact solar calendar. The Julian calendar likened this precision. It was based on the belief that a solar year was exactly 365 1.4 days long. Hence, the calendar added one extra day every 4 years to the month of February. Astronomers learned in time that the solar year was exactly 12 minutes and 14 seconds shorter than previously believed. This caused the spring equinox to fall backwards on the calendar until it eventually fell on March the 11th instead of March the 21st. See what I'm saying? This required that 10 days be dropped from the calendar. Yeah, they did a whole lot, man. Bear in mind that days were dropped from the month in October 1582, but not from the week. The below diagram shows how this was done. All right. The first week, October, went from Thursday, October the 4th, and that's what it's talking about. Like they made Friday the 5th day and made Saturday, which is the Sabbath, the 6th day, which it wasn't supposed to be like, and made Saturday the 16th, which they kind of like up the days a little bit. And that's why every 4 years they change things every 10 years or every 4 years to make up to calendar for what they did, and they constantly updating it and working to keep things hidden. You see what I'm saying? They the calendar is constantly being updated. You know, they changing things all the time. The first week of October went from Thursday, October the 4th to Friday, October the 15th, which is wrong. It ain't supposed to be that way. The two Sabbaths on either side of this change were still 7 days apart. The Sabbath remained inefficient, unaffected. The Sabbath remains unaffected. The weekly cycle was not broken because it was the Catholics who made the change. It is it is they who possess the best historical records of how they did this. The official change took place in Italy and Spain and Portugal. You see what I'm saying? So this is what Esau did, so-called white. You know, they want to hide truth all the time. So they change the calendar every few years or so. That's deceiving. Yeah, that's what Esau did. They sure did. October AD 1582. That's the history of the calendar right there. Yep. It says, the first week of October went from October the 4th to Friday, October the 15th. The two Sabbaths on either side of this change were still 7 days apart. The Sabbath remained unaffected. The weekly cycle was not broken because it was the Catholics who made the change. That means it was Esau. The Caucasian people did this. You know, it is they who possess the best historical records of how they did this. The official change took place in Italy, Spain, and Portugal. Okay. Um, then they got Sunday. They got totally Sunday skipped. They got Monday, Tuesday, Monday the first day of the week. So that means that Saturday would be the Sabbath would be they would skip the Sabbath and go to Sunday and make Sunday the seventh day, which is totally incorrect. Apparently, there was much debate about how and when to make the change. Notice the following two quotes. Thus, every imaginable proposition was made. Only one idea was never mentioned. That's the abandonment of the 7 day week. The Catholic Encyclopedia, Volume 9, Illis. It was Illis who actually proposed the change that was finally accepted. Okay. Uh they Esau, they had something to do with the change. This is the reason why our people follow Christianity. Because Christianity didn't lie to our people, and our people fall for it. I got law of God, not Moses. Maybe to stop it right here and just come back and just start up another whole video and just read, because I read all the way up to page 50, and well, actually I really read up to 50. I'm getting ready to come up to page 55. I'm almost, not close, but almost in the middle of the book. But when I was coming up, man, I used to couldn't even read anything, man. I didn't. So I'm gonna highlight this right here, and I'm gonna put a marker there, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna reread some more of that stuff. I don't know if it made any sense or whatever. I don't know if it. Let me know. Somebody let me know in the comment section if that sound like I just want to make sure I wasn't really skipping. I'm trying to practice myself before I go into the streets. You see what I'm saying? And tell I got some videos in the streets from a year ago, but those were just like practice videos, and stuff like that. But I want to make a difference in my community, man. I want to not just do this here, but I want to. Well, I'm gonna save that for later, and tell nobody that. So I don't know if. Let me know if y'all understood that, because I might just read some more while I'm off camera or something like that. But they really did change the day, you know what I'm saying? Because they changed our identity. That's why most of us don't know what we go back to. Um, they've been French, Spain, and Germany. All those people, they colonized our people, lied to our people, gave our people a white Jesus when Christ is not a white man. He's not a so-called white man. Christ is not a white man at all. But they want to push that image across the world and say that Christ is a so-called white man. No, Christ is a so-called black man. You know. So Esau is the devil, according to the Bible, and they push that image. And anything that God hates, I hate it too. Thank you for the truth. I will be back to see your next video. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I'm gonna see how this sound or whatever. I don't know if it sounds like I was all over the place, because I literally, when I was like in my 20 teens and 20, like coming up, I couldn't even read or write. I had to have my family to help me put stuff on tape and all. I tell the story all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be ashamed to tell people that, but now that I know where it come from and I understand it's a possibility that you know, these things would happen to our people, and that would be a curse. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, it's a possibility. Say, oh, you could be an Israelite or whatever. You know, so I started to embrace it. You know what I'm saying? I started to accept it. You know what I mean? And not be ashamed of it. You know, it's almost like a person who grows up and they have dark skin, right? And they be ashamed of it until they find out that that's beautiful. The God makes different shades, although it's not really about color, but it's about nation of people. But color, I mean, like we by us having melanin, we dominate when it comes to the sun and all that kind. We not saying we can't French and go down, but we last a little longer. Is what I'm trying to say. You know, we last much longer in the sun. It's been proven. I've been doing it ever since all my life. You know, and I'm 48 now, and it's been hot out there, and you know what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying it won't put it can do something to you, but I'm just making a point. Um, you know, we can stand up a little longer. If anybody can survive the sun better, it's blacks, Hispanics, and Native American. That's our people. We can do that. I can do that. You know, and I know it. You know, and that's how you can tell who the Israelites are, because it says that it's gonna be some things about us. We just gonna be more dominant from all the other nations of people. You know. So on that note, I'm gonna get up out of here and I'm gonna see y'all later, man. All right, I'll be back.